2, 3. T for time. This episode is brought to you by Sleep Number. Welcome to the last episode of Timeout in 2024.
Yeah.
This year is over. The season has gone by so quick. And they always say that as you get older, things go by faster because obviously you've been alive longer. Does this make sense? So like the years don't feel as long because you've had so many years.
Yeah, that does.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like perspective.
Yes. Well, this season has gone by very fast, and it started slow. Yes, for us over here in LA. We're going into week 17, people. This is very exciting as we are at the top of our division, and who would have thought? But you know what? We'll talk about why in a little bit. First, we're going to update this playoff picture because it has changed significantly. There were a lot of games that happened that eliminated people, and we have 2 new division leaders that I know of. There might be more, but I focus on our side more. So right now, in the AFC, the Chiefs have the bye. The Broncos would be at the Bills. The Chargers would be at the Steelers. The Ravens at the Texans. On the NFC side, the Lions would have the bye. The Commanders would be at the Eagles. The Packers come to us in LA, and the Vikings would go to Atlanta. So very interesting. Obviously, we claimed that, or I guess we had it last week, but having Seattle lose yesterday, the Vikings and the Chargers lose, that really helped us with the end of this season, but we still have to win out. So there's that. And then the Bucks losing last night to the Cowboys was big. That actually took them out of the playoff run and put the Falcons in. Their division's a little like ours. They will only get one person out of their division that will make the playoffs most likely because the records are not as good as the Vikings and the Packers and the Lions, or like the NFC North. Anyways, 3 teams for the NFC North are going to get in, and they will take 2 of the wild card spots. Mm-hmm. So only one other wild card spot is going to get in. Now, there were a bunch of teams eliminated this week. So we're going to go over those 2 and we'll kind of say why these teams continue to play, because a lot of people are like, why would you even play? The teams that are eliminated: Jets, Browns, Jags, Titans, Raiders, Patriots, Cowboys, Cardinals, 49ers, Saints, Bears, Panthers, Giants. Ooh. A lot of teams eliminated now. And that's this is what happens when you get closer to the end of the season. The playoff picture really starts to, finalize. So, but I wouldn't have thought heading into week, what do we say, 17, mm-hmm. that the 49ers really surprised me this year.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was injury.
There are quite a few injuries on theirs.
But there's quite a few injuries on every team. Yeah. I'm going to knock on wood, but we were injured at the beginning, and now we're, somewhat healthy. We getting Higbee back was huge, and just like the amount. And if you guys aren't Rams fans, Tyler Higbee, we lost last year in the playoffs to Detroit. He had to have 2 big surgeries. I believe it was one on his knee and one on his shoulder. I don't. Oh. Yeah. So he had not 1 but 2. And he is just like kind of I would say the personality on the team. Like you look at him, he's always smiling. He's just like a good dude that everybody loves. And so to see him come back out and score that touchdown.
It was like a morale boost.
Oh my gosh. I think the whole team was just pumped up, and that probably catapulted us hopefully to the end of the season, just seeing him back and watching him dive for that. Not afraid
at all.
No. And it's just, it was fun to watch, and I texted Malaya, his wife, right after. I'm sure she got a million texts. But again, the fact that, I'm texting her, you can just tell it brings the whole team together, watching a guy like that come back. So fun. But at the beginning of that game, it was a little dicey. And it was one of like those, Matthew had the ball like not very long at all. So it was, for me and for probably Rams fans, a little boring. Like I was like, can you get the ball, please? Threw his first pick in a while, which he just was like, yeah, that sucked. Nothing. It just is what it is. But oh God,
I mean, it was so cold. That's what everyone was talking about.
Yes, he was absolutely freezing. I did not stay. I came home. I had a lot of Christmas. It's hard during the holidays. I had a ton of Christmas stuff to do. I'm actually still in my Christmas pajamas because I woke up late. So these are Skims, just so you're aware. They're very comfortable. But yeah, he said it was freezing. But teams like that, teams who are eliminated and have nothing to lose, are scary.
Yeah.
Because you know what? On a 4th and 4, they'll go for it. Or in their own territory. They don't care. It's like, why not? Might as well.
Yeah.
So for a team that is still in the race, going against a team who has nothing to lose, those games are always scary for me. And I literally said that to Matthew before the game. I was like, let's make sure your guys know that this team is, it's going to be tough because there's nothing in it for them. Yeah. They're going to, do whatever they need to do. And so that game started a little tough. And then, we found our groove. But I think that's what the playoffs or the end of the season is. It's the people who find their groove and get hot at the end, which you're kind of seeing that all the teams that are in it right now are either just have been good all season or have found it late. And so I mean, that's us. And I think people are scared to play us, which I love.
Yeah, they should be. I love being underestimated.
Yeah. And it's again, our team is so young that I'm so, and I'm not, but very proud of the fact that the way we started wasn't great, and turns out the way we're ending is hopefully and going to be amazing. I don't think starting 1 and 4, people thought we were going to make the playoffs by any means.
Yeah.
But I will say, when you have a veteran leader who has done this many times and who has been coming back from behind and things like that, I feel like it gives them something to kind of believe in, these young guys. Like, oh, well, he's done it before, so maybe we can do it again.
I know. I feel like there's a lot of conversation, obviously, about how physically tough Matthew is, but I think we should recognize how his mental game is probably just maybe the best in the league.
It is honestly unreal. And his way to compartmentalize just during the game, okay, this play is not he threw that pick. Okay, well that's done, and that's not it's gonna determine the rest of my game. Well, it also goes for games in general. Okay, we're 1 and 4. That's not gonna determine the rest of our season. We can win out, and I think I said that to him multiple times. I was like, you could also just win a shit ton, and only lose 4 games when he was 1 and 4, when they were 1 and 4.
And look,
that's the faith I have in him. I'm like, anything's possible with you, and that's true. And I'm for sure biased. I'm his wife, but if I'm not biased, that's a problem. But no, he's one of those players that when shit gets hard, he just gets better. And that's been said multiple times. I don't think I'm biased there.
No, that's always what the commentators are talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, I would be scared to play Matthew because I would know that I couldn't trip him up.
No, he is mentally he is in the zone when he's in that game. So you might be able to get to him physically, but mentally there's no moving that mind around. So you can't get in his head. You don't live in his head. So
for what does it look like for the Rams moving forward? What needs to happen to clinch our spot?
So if we win next week and Seattle loses, we're in. I think Seattle plays the Bears. We play the Cardinals, a team that has nothing to lose. Because they just got eliminated.
And they're a division rival.
So yes. And they're coming into SoFi. But if we both win next week, or if we lose next week, it all depends on that last game because we play each other. So even if we win next week, or if Seattle loses or wins next week and we lose next week, it still comes down to the last game.
Oof.
So it is, it's going to be one of those just to battle it out to the end, which how fun, you know? And I do think the Lions division, with the Vikings will come down to that last game too.
That's going to be a great game.
Yes.
I'm expecting that to be a prime time.
I'm sure it'll get kicked to the night
Yeah.
game, which I'm sure players hate. Like, I don't know a player that likes playing the night games.
And we've talked about why.
Y'all, do you hate the grocery store? I mean, I feel like I can't find anything anymore or it's out of stock. This is why I love Thrive Market. Not only is it taking out the grocery store run, but they always like certified organic as their first choice. And Thrive Market studies every label to search for the best wholesome ingredients that have been vetted for safety. So you don't have to do it anymore. Foods have changed since we were kids. The big labels aren't putting the same ingredients in. So Thrive Market does the work for you so you don't have to. They've even restricted over 1,000 ingredients that are found at conventional grocery stores. So you don't have to worry what you're putting in your kid's mouth from Thrive. You know that it has been looked at and tested. Their mission is to make healthy and sustainable living and affordable for everyone. So when you become a member, Thrive Market gives a membership to a family in need. So go to thrivemarket.com/morning for 30% off your first order plus a free $60 gift. That's THRIVE market.com/morning. thrivemarket.com/morning.
I'm curious if there is anything to know about the difference between playing a Saturday game. Because we have a Saturday game against the Cardinals, possibly playing the Seahawks on Saturday as well.
Oh, I didn't even know that game could get flexed to a Saturday.
Yeah, that one's on the 4th or the 5th.
Oh, shit.
Which I'm hoping it's the 5th.
Yeah.
Personally.
Oh, same. I think this week, it sucks. Well, you see the Chiefs schedule. They played Saturday. They play again Wednesday. They play on Christmas Day. So the NFL's getting a little crazy.
risky.
I agree. I think, if you're talking about putting players' health first, you should never put a game within 4 days of each other, 5 days. That's ridiculous. And I think the Chiefs play 3 games in like 10 days.
Well,
which is so bad.
At least then they can, claim a disadvantage for once.
You're probably right. So you know what?
Chiefs can be challenged.
You're right. Did you see the ball boy call the timeout?
No, stop. What?
Okay, I don't know. Maybe this was fake, but I'm pretty sure it was real. The Chiefs ball boy, this is not allowed. Like, it's either head coach, like the head coach has to call the timeout, or actually, I'm gonna look that up, but I'm almost certain. Okay, who can call timeouts? Sorry.
A ball boy.
Yeah. Team's head coach or a player on the field. Now I'm going to look up.
The ball boy situation?
Eagle-eyed NFL fans spot a ball boy appearing to call a timeout. It does appear to be called by the ball boy. I'll show it to you real quick. And we'll let Kira make the decision here.
And then Kelsey finds the hole in the zone defense.
Watch this.
Well, his numbers aren't necessarily what you expect out of
right here.
Kelsey. The production when it's mattered the most has still been there. His 86th catch
okay,
of the season.
Here's my
Timeout call for Kansas City.
Okay, here's my interpretation of that moment. It totally looks like that. To me, what I would assume is that the ball boy was pointing out a different coach down the line calling it. And the ref didn't necessarily
pointing
see
at
him.
Andy Reid down the line, who is the head coach of the Chiefs.
Uh-huh.
Yes,
but
that
he can't do that.
No, you have to the head coach has to make his way to call the timeout.
Okay, so I'm not convinced that the ref saw the ball boy do that, but he definitely did that. Whether or not
agreed, kind of crazy. I don't know. It's fine. Listen. Everyone gets their calls every now and then, but I think people are very focused on the Chiefs just because, they
why are they praying to?
Yes, whatever.
Have I told you guys about Qualia Senolytic? Man, am I about to change your 2025 year. So, senescent cells, right? These are basically zombie cells. They are old and worn out, not serving a useful function for our health anymore, but they are taking up space and nutrients from our healthy cells. So much like pruning the yellowing and dead leaves off a plant, the Qualia Senolytic removes those worn out senescent cells to allow for the rest of them to thrive in your body. And it's only 2 days a month. You just take it 2 days a month. But if you remove those, dying cells or those zombie cells, it gives your new cells room to thrive. I mean, I've noticed a higher energy level. I'm feeling like I'm 15 years younger, just less aches and pains in general. So resist aging at a cellular level. Try Qualia Senolytic. Go to qualialife.com/Kelly for up to 50% off and use code Kelly at checkout for an additional 15% off. For your convenience, Qualia Senolytic is also available at select GNC locations near you. That's QUALIA life.com/Kelly for an extra 15% off your purchase. Thanks to Qualia for sponsoring today's episode.
They're probably sleeping real well after all their games in their sleep numbers because they I don't know, they just seem to get the calls. But I really believe everyone gets calls. It just depends on the games. But again, it's just a little more magnified because it's the Chiefs. But I guarantee you, they're in their sleep numbers going, they don't care that they're getting the calls. Guess what? It's good for them. You know what I mean? And they got their sleep number setting and they get in and they go to bed right away and they sleep tight and they dream about getting more calls,
Oh my goodness. Well, maybe the Chiefs have sleep number beds on their plane.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what's going on.
You're so right. I mean, I think if you had sleep numbers on every plane, I think every team would sleep well. So maybe that's what it is. No, we're kidding. But guys, we've said this before. If you're in the, needing a new mattress or in the time where your mattress is getting a little old, I really recommend going to those stores and trying them out. I mean, they have sales. We know this. The best time to buy like cars, mattresses, everything, all the big purchases are during the holidays. So, and up until New Year's. So I would just go in, check it out, see what your sleep number is and tell me. I would love to know. Are you a soft? Are you a firm? Who knows? We're not going to get more into that because that's a little bit of a football foreplay, which we will get to. But yes, now is the time to go check out a Sleep Number store. All right, we need to get to this free kick, whatever the hell it's called.
We're confused too, guys, basically.
Yes.
This Chargers game on Thursday night.
Yeah, and honestly, when it happened, I obviously screenshot it and was like, okay, what is this? And it's rare enough to where players don't even know. I think some of the players on the field were confused. I feel like everyone at home was confused. This rule has not been enforced because it hasn't had to be enforced in 60 years or something crazy.
Wow.
So the free kick rule, basically what happened was guy was going for a fair catch, which a fair catch is when you wave your hand above your head, you're catching either a punt or a kick. In this case, it was a punt. And if you wave your hand above your head, nobody can touch you. Mm-hmm. Not before or after you catch the ball. It is literally like I'm surrendering. You can't tackle me because I'm surrendering. And where you catch the ball is where the ball is placed. Well, the guy, waves his hand and he gets hit by the team that's kicking the ball, the defensive team. So, penalty.
Mm-hmm. Which we've seen this season, I think.
Which we have. So, what happens when you have a fair catch and there's no time left on the clock? Normally, you would get... This is what the rule states. And this is why I'm a little confused. But if you're not interfered with, it says you get a free kick from where you're at, which I don't really understand. And I think that's why this rule is normally not used, because why would you just kick the ball back to the other team?
Yeah.
Then there's no time left.
Right.
Now, if you're interfered with, you can either have the free kick or you can do one play from the line of scrimmage, wherever the ball ends up after the penalty.
Okay.
Okay, so they were in field goal range after the penalty.
So this is why this is rare, is you would not normally be this deep making a fair catch to begin with.
Yes, but you mean this shallow, because you're actually, but yes.
To me, yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't be as close
Right.
to your opponent's, goal line. But due to the penalty, it moved them into field goal range. Now, free kick, nobody can block it. Okay, you're basically, but if it didn't make it through the uprights, they can return it. So they had returners back. I'm sure you noticed they had a guy in the end zone. And they had to be 10 yards off the ball. Here's my thing. If I'm a kicker, that's a mind fuck. If you don't practice this, which I'm sure maybe teams might now. I think the Chargers actually do, which is kind of weird. Jim Harbaugh, of course, has like these, things that he said he like couldn't wait for this to happen. And I was like,
I wonder if he has like a little like drinking game, like a little bucket list he keeps in the back pocket. Like,
Maybe.
in my career, I cannot retire until this happens.
until I do a free kick for a field goal, with no time left. Yeah, so it moved in field goal range, but like again, a little bit of a mind fuck for these kickers because he's sitting there. There's a guy holding it, and there's nobody in front of him. It was the oddest looking sight.
Yeah.
Kicked it, it went in. So it is 3 points, which honestly, momentum wise, I think they needed. I don't know if they ended up winning that game.
Yeah, they did.
They did win that game by 3 points. Let's see.
I don't know. Actually, it's a good question.
I'm gonna look real quick. But yeah, it is a rule that literally nobody really understands, nobody like really thought about.
And it's also interesting that it's worth 3 points.
Oh my God, they won by 7. That would have been really good though.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because it's a field goal,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know.
not, I guess you could like make an arbitrary rule that it's a little bit less of a field goal, but why? And so default.
Yeah, you're right. I don't
you know
know.
what I mean?
But the fact that they could have also done a Hail Mary. So if they were backed up, it would have been a one play, no time on the clock, but a one play situation. You can do a Hail Mary.
So what's riskier at that point? Probably the Hail Mary, right?
They probably would have just knelt the ball.
Okay.
If you're like really far back, there's no reason because it is risky. Like if they pick it and randomly run it back, then you're like, why did we do that?
Yeah.
Because we know that Hail Marys have a very low percentage chance of working. And if you're really pushed really far back, you can't throw it that far.
What's the percentage again? Did we decide it's
It's like
7?
Okay, 8%.
8%.
1 in every 12 attempts. There you go.
Yeah.
So very, 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 very small window, but it works. I like yesterday had a really weird feeling going to that game. Is Aaron Rodgers going to throw a Hail Mary on us and win this game at some point? Like he's done it a couple times he did it. I feel like a couple times to the Lions when we were on it. And I was like, what is happening? But it's I don't know what, like, I wonder what he's going to do after this season.
I was just going to say that he's had such a long career and
So long and successful. And sometimes you're like, did you watch his documentary?
I didn't. I've seen clips from it. Obviously, a lot of headlines were made.
Yeah. But we know headlines.
We know headlines.
We need
so
to
I'm
actually watch it.
Yeah.
I know. I keep telling myself I'm going to watch it. I just haven't found time. But he's one of the greats. I know he's very polarizing, I feel like. But at the end of the day, he's one of the best quarterbacks to play the game. Yeah. So take what you want. But as a football player, he's good.
Yeah, he's iconic.
The Morning After with Kelly and Hank is sponsored by BetterHelp. Guys, the winter is my favorite because you want to get cozy, right? Even in California, the temp drops a little bit and I wrap up in my blanket and I sit on that couch with some hot chocolate and it's literally my favorite. But there's other ways to stay cozy year round without the blanket and hot chocolate. And honestly, that's going to therapy. Cozy in the fact of like your comfort level. Sometimes throughout the holidays we get stressed, we lose ourselves a little bit. And if you kind of felt that, and if you feel like you need to talk to somebody, their therapists are there to comfort you and give you ideas and ways to cope and things like that. And if you don't love your therapist, the best thing about BetterHelp is you can get a new one. And not only that, there's no wait rooms, there's no awkwardness, it's convenient for you. So if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, so it's designed to be convenient. So find comfort this December with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/morningafter today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/morningafter.
All right. There was one thing where I was like, it was during a game, and I'd kind of forgotten about this rule. So if you are a quarterback and you're passing the ball and the ball gets tipped by any defensive guy, or tipped in general, it is a free ball, meaning that you can pass interfere with it. Like you can push the guy down in front of you. Oh. It is like it's like ready, fight. It's like like when you tip it, what's the game that used to be like ready, fight? You're too young. God.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
It's a video game, so everyone else will know. And then at the end, it's like finish him or something.
What?
Oh yes, it was great.
Okay. Timeout.
Yes. But anyways, so if the ball's tipped, you can push the receiver down in front of you to go get it. But you have to catch it.
Okay.
Obviously, it's a incomplete pass if it hits the ground. But the other day, I don't remember who it was playing. They hit the quarterback's arm, not the ball, but it looked like it was tipped. So the defender pushed the guy in front of him and caught it and thought he picked it, and they called PI because he hit the quarterback's arm was hit when he had the ball, making it feel like it was tipped because the ball wasn't thrown great,
Right.
but it was never tipped.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, okay. So if you hit the quarterback's arm, it is still, you have to play coverage normal. But if you tip the ball, then it's the ready fight version.
Can you also pass interfere with the quarterback? Like say the quarterback throws it, defender tips it, and then the quarterback is the closest to it and goes to it. Could the defender then
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm sure the defender's going for the ball too if they're both close. But a quarterback can throw it if it's tipped and catch it and try and do something with it. He can't throw it again.
Yeah.
Because you can't double
Right.
pass it. But he can catch it and try and run with it. But most quarterbacks, I think, would catch it and go down just because that's the
just
safety.
stay safe.
But yeah, I mean, once that ball is tipped, it is fair game to go get the ball. Now, if you're just like, if the ball's tipped and you're hitting Matthew behind the ball and he's not, like, you can't do that. You can't take cheap shots.
Would that be roughing the passer at that point?
Yeah, probably. Yes, it would be. So you can't do that. But if you're in the play, in the mix, and the ball is like up in the air, yeah, you can do whatever you need to do to get the ball. I find it very interesting.
Yeah, that is really interesting.
Like why I would be, if I was a DB, I would be praying my D lineman tip the ball all the time.
Yeah.
How fun.
I love, I don't know. I was a defensive player in every sport I played, kind of like you.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I love when defense can kind of just rally behind something and get
Yes.
really excited. And I also love when the press talks about defense. And I like looking, I've been trying to like train myself to look at defensive stats now too.
Oh, yeah.
Just because I don't really understand them. And maybe that's an episode down the line. But I'm trying to figure out what makes like a really successful defensive football player. And especially because we have really strong rookies on our team.
Yeah, we do.
And so they're building their stats right now. And so they're interesting to track.
Yeah, we do. And defense is always interesting to me too. Obviously, it's not my forte because, my husband plays offense. But it is, I feel like that is an episode that we probably need to do at some point. I probably have to have Matthew in on that episode because I have no idea.
Well, he tried to get into defense.
Oh,
in
yeah,
that
you're
one
right.
episode, And we were all like, okay.
I know. That's a problem though. He keeps going. I'm like, calm down. We don't need all this. Nope. Too much.
He's like, he has to describe everything. Like he has to give us the full picture.
Yes.
And then he probably feels like he's missing information
I know.
if he doesn't like overload us.
I know. And he's probably like, well, if the real football players listen to this, they're probably like, oh man, this guy knows nothing because he's just doing it. I'm like, no. Basics are good.
No, they are
Just
good.
need
Is he that way
basics.
with the girls? Like when he teaches them?
Well,
things
I would think I kind of teach him more so than
than he does.
I mean, like just because I am we're live watching it, and that's kind of when I talk to them about it. They have. I love that. Like Tyler asked if she could snuggle and watch the game with me last night. I was like, oh my god, and she
really
had
cute.
questions, and I was like, oh.
What did she ask?
She was just like, Mommy, why do they tackle that guy? Like, why don't they tackle? Why doesn't kind of like the guy carrying the ball? And I was like, well, he has the ball, and so you want to get him to the ground because then the play's over. And she was like, well, why doesn't he just give the ball to somebody else when he gets tackled? I mean, she's asking these questions, and it's freaking adorable. I missed them so much this weekend. It's hard to leave them during the holidays. I came home and they were so excited, which melts me. Also, I was exhausted. Not as exhausted as Kiera, because Kiera took the last flight last night. I ended up leaving at 5:45.
I think that was the right call.
I mean, and I was going to text you too about the trip. Like, I lost my ID in the airport before security.
No way.
Girl, yes. It fell out of my pocket in line in security.
No.
But the good news is I was like, does anyone see an ID? And they were like, they just turned one in. So I had to get out of security line.
Oh no.
Which was forever long, as we know, during the holidays. And at JFK, I was like, no.
Oh, that's bad.
I know. But it's okay. I found my ID. I made the flight. I slept a lot of it. So that worked.
Our crap was like all over the place all week, and things kept getting missing. Not just your stuff.
Oh.
A friend's jacket got left behind. It
Left
was
my
just, like,
purse in a cab. I mean, come on.
the TMA cruise shit was just scattered across
God.
Manhattan in random Ubers and hotel lobbies.
It was. And then I bought these earrings. Well, maybe we should get into that in the next TMA. But it was just one of those things where, it was a great trip, but I think it was very known by our actions that it was the final leg of it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
All right, y'all, New Year's is around the corner, and why not give yourself something that maybe you've wanted for a long time? We all know that weight loss is no one-size-fits-all situation, and hers is changing women's healthcare by providing you with access to the affordable weight loss treatments. Now, guys, I know there's a lot out there right now, and what can you trust? And this is what I love about hers is that they will connect you with a medical provider who will create a personalized treatment plan tailored to your needs. If you are prescribed, you'll get the medication as part of a doctor-developed weight loss program, including ongoing care and online support at no additional cost. This is where I think hers puts himself above the others. You want to make sure you're doing it right and everything is healthy along the way. This is why I love hers. So start your free online visit today at forhers.com/Kelly. That's forhers.com/Kelly for your personalized weight loss treatment options. forhers.com/Kelly. Hers weight loss is not available everywhere. Compounded products are not FDA approved or verified for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription is required. Restrictions apply. Wegovy and Ozempic are not compounded.
You talked about defense. What I love about defense is they take time on their celebrations because they don't know. I mean, like, who's to know whether they're going to get a turnover? And that's what they usually celebrate, right? So was it Minnesota Vikings?
Yes.
Y'all, these celebrations are so good.
They're so good.
And you know what? I am all for it. This is what I say. Sometimes in college and in high school when kids are like celebrating, I'm kind of like, I don't think you deserve that yet. Like, you got to make it to the act like, this is what my mom always said. And people have very different opinions on celebrating. People are like, act like you've been there before. Just hand the ball. Act like you've been there before. You know who does not celebrate?
Who?
Cooper Kupp.
Oh, yeah. I haven't noticed that actually, but yeah. That's his MO.
He hands the ball to the ref and they all cheer. They all come up and congratulate him, but he's very... So there's people like that, and then there's people that are like the Minnesota Vikings. And honestly, like, I think you can go either way. But I do believe that once you make it to the pros, you have every right to celebrate. Because who knows how long you're going to play for? Who knows if you're going to get another turnover? Who knows if you're going to score another touchdown in the league? Yeah. Like, celebrate.
Yeah, I don't really see the problem. I mean, obviously, you can't do something offensive on TV.
Yes.
So I understand having to enforce those, but
yeah,
penalize. In my opinion, like penalizing a reference to Disney Channel is too much.
No, did they penalize them for that?
I believe they got a penalty for their Camp Rock celebration yesterday.
Really?
Yeah. Let's fact check that.
So this is interesting to me because you are allowed to do group celebrations, and I wouldn't have found that one offensive.
So it wasn't offensive at all. It's G-rated.
Yeah, so I'm wondering why. See, this is interesting. Again, football is very subjective. What the refs find to be a penalty with the celebrating world is very interesting because this is interesting to me too because the NFL has been criticized for the strict celebration rules and being the no fun league, which I agree with. I'm like, you guys are taking away. It's part of like getting into the game with fans too. Like, fans like the celebrations. You're killing kind of the fun of the game if you're going to kill all the celebrations.
Just fact checking myself. The group celebration was not penalized, but Justin Jefferson.
Yes, because his was offensive.
For the gritty. Okay.
So
taunting.
That's where the line. If you are taunting the other team, meaning like if you're looking straight at a guy and you're doing something, or there was a situation where I think Kyron on our team threw the ball at the other, not threw the ball, but like kind of tossed it at him.
Oh,
that's taunting. So taunting, and that's respect too. So I can kind of understand that. Celebrate, do you? you don't need to include the other players on the other team. By
Do it
any
for the
means.
cameras. Do it for the people sitting in behind.
Do it for the
field goal.
gram, because that's where it goes.
The Vikings. I don't know if they have like a social media coordinator like helping them all with that.
No,
but
did you see them practicing? It was the cutest
It's
thing
so
ever.
cute. It's so cute.
Guys go like, you wonder if these guys practice these. Absolutely, they do.
Also, the fact that they are like too young to have like watched
Yes.
Camp Rock, which
What?
makes me now feel like ancient.
I'm going. No chance any of you actually watched that.
Yeah,
Which I kind of love.
I love that.
I mean, I love when the guys did the Parent Trap. I'm like, you're definitely too young for that.
yeah.
But anyways,
It's really
so
cute.
you can't be offensive or taunt. And offensive meaning you can't do anything too sexual. Don't like twerk on TV. I mean, I'm all for it, but there's kids watching, I guess. And then obviously the new one is the weapons.
Yeah.
If you do, and like a lot of people, like Matthew used to holster two
Right.
guns in his cowboy belt since he's
Very
such a cowboy.
callous, I guess.
Yeah, such a cowboy. And he'll get fined for that.
Yeah.
That used to be just like Matthew doesn't really celebrate. When he does, he's always like, God, I'm so awkward. He just like does what comes to mind.
Yeah, you can tell it's not like planned.
No, it's not pre-planned. So he's always like, I really need to start planning because I look stupid.
I don't know.
I think he's adorable. But it's interesting. Like, you just can't do anything with like guns or weapons. Like, you can't do a bow and arrow.
Well, it kind of makes sense. If I don't know if this is why, but you don't want to incite any kind of violence on the field. I mean, you don't want to taunt the other team and then end up in a fight.
No, yeah.
You just don't want any kind of unnecessary injury or
Yes,
or
no.
harm.
And this game is already emotional for a lot of guys, as it should be. I mean, you work your whole life for it. So I get the taunting, but I love group celebrations. I'm all freaking for it. This is I had to ask, I watched the game with Jimmy Clausen yesterday, who used to play quarterback in the league. And I think he hates watching it with me because I have so many questions. And he's probably like, I've never sat next to a woman who is so into the games that she has this many fucking questions.
Oh
And
my
I'm like,
God, no. I'm sure he's grateful. I love having him at the game.
I do too. Well, he's like, I'm sure we should just have him on the podcast at some point.
Yeah, he would be great.
He would be great. And he like dumbs it down for me. So like I feel like that's good. Like, you get Matthew in here, it's way too out there. But he is like, all right, let me give you the rule like layman's terms. So it was 2nd and 20 for us. We had the ball. Kyron ran it for like 10 yards, making it 3rd and 20. But there were 2 penalties on the play, both by our team. Okay. So when there's 2 penalties by one team, the other team gets to accept one of them, whichever one benefits them more. Okay. So 2 penalties. There was a holding by an offensive lineman and then an after the play unsportsmanlike, which is where he flipped them the ball. Okay. By Kyron. So the holding would have been a 10-yard penalty from the line of scrimmage. So that would have been, but a replay of the down. So that would have been a 2nd and 30. Okay. The unsportsmanlike is after the play and it's 15 yards from the end of the run. So the end of the run, he got 10 yards, which would have made it 3rd and 10, but with the 15 yards, it made it 3rd and 25. Okay. And you do lose that down.
Okay.
So it could have been 2nd and 30 or 3rd and 25.
I gotcha.
So I was confused. I was like, well, he ran the ball for a good amount, so why would you take
Yeah.
the second penalty? But when you put it on paper, 3rd and 25 is way harder than 2nd and 30.
Yeah.
So they ended up taking the unsportsmanlike. But I was like sitting there going, you would normally think that you would take, because he had such a good run, he had a 10-yard run, that they would take the penalty before the play and just replay the down. But because of the unsportsmanlike and that it's actually 15 yards and we were still 10 yards from the first down, 3rd and 25 made more sense. But it blew my mind. I was sitting there going, why would they take that? Why would they give us more yards? Like we would have had, but this I think credits our offense. They didn't want us to have 2 more tries at 30 yards because we might have actually gotten it.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the word in everyone's mouth is like try to keep the ball away from Rams offense. Same thing with Bills.
Literally, it is. Matthew had the ball for like 10 minutes by the end of the third quarter. It was insane. They're just keeping our offense off the field. And the way they do that is a good run game. If you can run the ball, that runs down the clock and you just get little tiny, it wasn't like they were launching the ball. The Jets, they were just doing short little dink, dink, wasting the time, getting like every first down after they would do it. They get to the third down, then they get the first down. And then they get to the third down, they get the first down. I was like, God bless.
I love the creative ways that the team like runs the clock out. The Chargers were doing that also last week.
Crazy.
I think Justin Herbert was did like a funny little like
Oh my
crab
God.
walk and then got down.
Yeah.
It's
And then
fun.
threw the ball straight in the air. Did you notice that?
Yep. Oh yeah. Just big.
So fourth down, and I was like, what are they about to do? It's fourth down. They were in their own 50 or what on their side of the field. So dicey to go for a fourth down. And I think there were like 4 seconds left, and he dropped back for like a second and a half and then just launched it in the air.
Yep.
So by the time the ball hit the ground,
0. Yeah.
game was over. So it is interesting. Again, the NFL is mind blowing. My dad was like, Kelly, I didn't know about the 5-minute rule and the 2-minute rule, or the 2-minute rule and the 5-minute rule, saying when you go out of bounds in the first half, under 2 minutes, clock stops, and 5 minutes in the second half when you run out of bounds or whatever. So
Look at you.
I know. Well, I learned that too. And obviously we all learned about the fair catch play or whatever the hell that was. That was crazy. All right, let's do some football foreplay to end this thing. You got some?
Yeah. I think we have time for one.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, so the football foreplay that I picked today was easy because it was. You know what? I love you guys because you clearly like have your phones on you when you're watching the game, and then you submit the same thing all at the same time. And so we see them all like back to back. I'm like, oh, that must have just happened. So this one was in the Lions game, and so many of you heard it, and it goes, "This is their deepest penetration so far today."
Oh my God. It just is like it's starting to get
Oh no, it's turned a corner for you.
I mean, it's just now I'm like, I don't know.
Now it's starting to feel like when
just
your
feels-
dad makes like an off like
Yes.
joke. Not your dad, but like a dad joke.
No.
And you're like, ugh, I didn't want to hear that.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah. There's a lot of like, they said something about Baker the other day too, or last night, that made me giggle. Like, I mean, he's got some big holes. He's just got to see them or something. I was just like, oh my God. It is, I do love it, but I don't think anything's going to beat the horny routes. I don't think it's too good.
Oh no, that was a gem.
I know. I love Puka for that.
Yeah, me too.
Maybe we'll try and get him on. He's talk about a personality of always smiling. He's
would
such a little
probably do
teddy bear.
it. Oh
He
my
probably would do it. I know. Kyron Williams continues to plow.
That's good.
He was plowing yesterday. He played well. All right, guys. Well, listen, this has been such a fun 2024 fall. We will be continuing until the Super Bowl. So we will find you in 2025. Please keep sending your football foreplays because honestly, they're really fun to read. And I like to read a little more than just a few. We ran out of time today, but we'll do better next week. Things are getting tight.
Oh gosh, see, you can't even help yourself.
I know. Well, everything you say now, I feel like is sexual.
It's like the elephant in the room now.
The playoff picture is getting tight there. That's better.
Okay.
All these games matter. So if you're rooting for your team, please know when to cheer if you're going to the games. And yeah, we will see you in 2025.
Yay, with a very clear playoff picture.
Very, very clear. Much clearer, if you will.
It'll be set the next time you hear from us.
Oh, yeah, great. It
Yeah.
will be set. Merry Christmas, everybody. I will not be back for a while, and I'm so excited to take this break. So until then, time in and Ryuda.